Welcome to Not a Great Whisperer podcast. This is your host, Katy Ray. I am joined with the beautiful Haylee Hehl today. Thank you for joining.
Yes.
We have a mutual connection, one of your best friends, Heather. I used to tailgate with her before baseball games at USF, and I had to drop a name to get you on here. So I was super excited that you joined.
I'm so excited you reached out. Absolutely.
So you're the founder of the Rock Glove and FemaleGang.
Yes.
Which had a new product launch this week, right?
Yes, July 1st. It's the art of the woman's body. And I'm so excited. We actually pretty much, I think we have a few pieces left. We've pretty much sold out almost everything, few pieces left.
I know.
But it's one of our best launches yet. So
I love the photo shoot.
thank you.
I know you and the co-founder were in it.
Yes.
And then friends.
Yes. So Elizabeth, we call her Lou. She's the co-founder, and we actually had one of our first actually legit models. Her name was Jubilee.
Awesome.
Typically we do photo shoots with iPhones in the streets, like hurry, like 27 girls in and out. This was the first one we actually did in a studio, and Lou and I are not models. So going into a studio, we're like, we need someone that's actually legit, knows what they're doing. And we actually had two other models. We were not supposed to be in it.
I love that you were in it.
And they had COVID. So last minute, we had to jump in.
I love that you were in it, though. I
Yes.
think just in general, being around women, the beautiful different bodies, I think it's empowering right there. So you had to felt pretty awesome during the photo
It was
show.
fun. And he's actually in St. Pete, but the photo ninja, he made us feel so comfortable. He was awesome. So I highly recommend him.
So let's talk about how you got on this journey.
Yeah. So I was actually a former educator. So I was a teacher, then a vice principal before all of this. Yeah. So
Wow.
I started kind of this journey more so. It actually originally started as the Rock Glove. So I patented the Rock Glove product. It took about 5 years to do that. Was quite the journey. I started that because I was actually married before, divorced. But hey, it, brought me to the Rock Glove. So it was good. But I started the journey with the Rock Glove, and I was a teacher, vice principal, and I actually had a meeting with a shark from Shark Tank. So he reached out to me. Basically, he's now on our advisory board for the Rock Glove, and he would call me for meetings and this and that, and I was never available. I'm like, I have a school of 600 kids. I can't come.
Yeah.
And basically, long story short, he was just kind of like, well, now or never. You're so young. Why are you kind of limiting yourself? And so I didn't tell a single soul. I basically resigned. I told my mom that I was going to resign from being a principal. And I knew, because she's always been very supportive of me. And, education will always be there. She's like, you can hate it and go back tomorrow. So I took a leap of faith, a scariest decision of my life. But I did, and it's actually been the best decision. Obviously, I love education, a huge passion, but this has really grown into my new passion of FemaleGang and being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So basically kind of how FemaleGang then got started. So that was originally starting with the Rock Glove. And then I always wanted to do clothing, this and that. And I actually partnered with my best friend, Elizabeth Lou. Her husband does all the printing. So we just kind of put our heads together. She's also a teacher, officially resigning. She's actually now going to be going full-time as well. But I was actually at a dinner with a lot of entrepreneur females in the Tampa Bay area. It was probably, I think, about 2 years ago. We were at dinner, and this wonderful person came up to us, to our table, and said, do you guys bring anything else to this table besides good looks? And that's pretty much what started FemaleGang. And here we are. Meanwhile, every girl at that table was very successful. I was the only one that was still in education at the time. And that's actually what launched. I'm actually wearing today our first ever shirt, Pretty Powerful. And that's what launched Pretty Powerful.
That is so inspiring.
Yes.
So you were a vice principal at what age?
They didn't know. I always say fake it until you make it. I started at 26 or 27.
As a vice principal.
I got my master's degree right out of college.
Yeah.
And then, my work ethic basically is kind of what, brought me way, typically it's not until your mid-30s.
I think that's amazing. In general, just because of that, teachers are amazing. But, you right out of college were able to move your way up that quickly.
Yes.
And then the leap of faith just into like kind of what your heart knew you wanted to do. Mm-hmm. But of course, you always had children and kids running around. But how were you able to make that decision of like kind of stability to just kind of jumping all in?
Yeah. So, I will say I've always wanted to make an impact. I mean, I will say, knew me in college, never would have thought I'd be a teacher, good old college days. But the passion of really trying to make a difference and reach as many. And that's why I wanted to move up in education so fast, was because I only worked in inner city schools. And I just really wanted to touch as many people as possible. So moving into this, it was definitely a slow start because I know nothing about business, know nothing about sales, knew nothing about marketing. I got a degree in education, but I knew my work ethic. I come from a family of a lot of entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. Different life turns basically had to force them to figure it out. And so pretty much my entire family has their own business of some sort. And I just knew my work ethic and my support, I'd be able to do it. And again, I mean, my mom and my 4 sisters are just, my biggest fans. I did, at 29 is actually when I took this leap, 28 or 29. I did have to move back in with my mom, which was a little bit, I'd owned a house and then I lived in Channelside, but I just knew I wanted to give this my all. And I also didn't want to have to worry about not paying my rent or paying my mortgage. Yeah. So I moved back in my late 20s with my mom at that time. And actually now I'm back there. Well, funny story, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I knew the support of her and then not taking away those, bills that I'd be able to do it. So,
but it's like knowing that you kind of have to, it's not a step back. It's just part of the path, right?
Exactly.
So within all of that, were you already out of education? Did you get a divorce and then jump into your own business? Did that light any fire? Okay.
Yeah, no, I got married pretty young and I got divorced at 24. I think got married 21 or 22. And then I got divorced at 24. But, I always say it was best learning lesson. And it kind of is just what pushed me into all of this. So...
Well, I think it's huge that you have so much experience for all the women. It's really like, I always say like labels don't define us at all.
Correct.
But I love that you kind of bring so much to the table with education, starting with this career, taking that leap of faith, it's just, it's fucking awesome. Yeah. So what are the next kind of goals for you? You are also selling insurance.
Yes.
Like as you have kind of like 2 side gigs?
So kind of basically what I did was when the shark from Shark Tank, he basically, I didn't go on there to try and get people to, I was never, on the TV show. I just had a meeting. He's on my advisory board. Yeah. Basically kind of advised me how to go about this. He wanted me to basically invest $100,000 into some marketing pieces. And I was also raised, even though entrepreneur, I was also very raised with my mom that never had a dollar in debt in her life.
Yeah.
So something like that, and being a teacher, obviously teachers, bless them, don't make any money. I didn't have $100,000 and I wasn't exactly. Yeah. Like, where's that come from? I've never even touched that kind of money before. But I just, the money. Oh, so the money is, I just didn't want to take that leap. Even though I was taking the leap of faith of jumping or leaving education, it was too scary for me to also take a loan when this was like kind of day one.
Yeah.
So I just basically kind of put him on the back burner for a little bit and then moved into health insurance because I was like, oh, I've heard this flexible, this and that. Not flexible at all. But I jumped into it to make a lot of, basically make money as I was trying to do this entrepreneur thing. I'm still in health insurance. I do love it. It's just kind of actually been a tool for me to really follow my dreams of everything else. It's been able to be the financial backbone
and not
of
add the
everything.
stress of that.
Correct.
Which is really hard for people to realize. Like sometimes your dream has to be funded by something, right?
Yes.
But you like it.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I have a team. And I've actually now, everything in my life is about empowering. So my team
you're hyping
is
each
called,
other up.
exactly. My team is called Empower. And that's just, it's all about empowering each other, which is FemaleGang. That's why we started, is just empowering everyone in their different walks of life. I'm not this, everyone's like, oh, do you even like male? Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm not a man hater.
Yeah, I hate when people say that.
sometimes.
I love that. Yeah, of course. I love that you guys have dad hats. You ladies have dad hats. For the FemaleGang. That was super cute on the website.
Yes.
So yes, of course, it's empowering everyone. And it's not like your team at the insurance company is all women. So I think by empowering women, it just gives us that extra sense of confidence. And a lot of times we need that.
Yeah.
So what have you noticed on this journey with females? Do you notice that like people come around once you're able to... So I always say like the resting bitch face at like a networking event. We do it. We do it a lot, right? We just sit there staring.
I get called out a lot about it. I'm like, no, I'm happy. Hi.
No, I'm really nice. No, I'm really nice.
Yes.
But how much people open up to you once they kind of figure out what you do?
Yeah. So I will say, I'm just kind of backtrack a little bit in the question you asked a little bit before is kind of the journey and whatnot.
Yeah. Love that.
I will say, I did jump into it scared. I had a leap of faith, but I was scared. And I will say when you are subconsciously scared, it just kind of shows. I will say recently, these past few months, I've really kind of changed my mindset, more of the manifesting, and it actually truly belongs to me. And that's when I think everything has taken off. I am a little bit slower. It was a slower journey for us because, we were playing a little bit scared. And when it really comes down to how powerful your mind is, that really, I think, determines your success in every piece of life. And it showed, when we first started, we started with like 10 shirts and, could barely sell them. Obviously, we're still starting. But we would subconsciously listen to a lot of our friends who, so-called friends, crazy, you guys are crazy, this and that. What are you guys doing? But we did keep going. And I'm thankful that I had Lou, because when she was down, I was up, or when I was down, she was up.
Yeah.
And so we were able to kind of support each other. And I think we've officially hit that mark where our mindset has completely changed. And it's really, our mind is a muscle. So it's, strengthening it and growing it. And I've really done a lot of work these past few months on growing my mind and my, subconscious thoughts of everything and what I deserve. And that's why, we do 50 pieces of each product every month now. And we've gotten pretty close, like, selling out, recently, pretty fast on some of the other ones. But this one was just within a few hours, more than half our stuff was gone. And it was just chilling, like how fast we've grown since we changed the mindset type deal.
And your awareness of it.
Yes.
So and I love when people share the real story, right? Like, yeah, this is fun, but there are a lot of struggles within it. But you saw that, like you saw that you went in scared at first. You saw what you had to do to change it. But I think in a couple hours I know, because when I went on, I feel like it was like the day after, and I was like, I need to look for, I was like, damn, there's only extra smalls left. Like, what the hell?
Right? Yes, I know. And that's all of our friends. I'm like, So, every time a lot of our friends now try to get the pre-launch, but we're just kind of, nope, you got to
No, that's awesome. And you know what? It's eventually not going to be like that, but it's sure awesome that it is. Like, you'll have more product, and every time you'll bring out more product. But right now that feels pretty good.
Yes,
so.
It feels so good. And I'm so grateful for it and the opportunity it's brought us. And even just, it's putting, like, this is the first podcast I've done completely by myself.
Love that.
So it's about getting uncomfortable. And that's kind of what we've had to kind of do, this past year, especially, of just doing things that, we're not comfortable with, getting out of our shell. And, even going back to when you said the resting bitch face, I will say with the insurance, when I first went to go like interview, so-called, for that, he literally, the top guy, called me out in the interview, was like, we don't do RBFs here. And I was like, no, I promise I'm happy. But it's even just me trying to get out of my shell when I am out or doing events, fixing my face.
Yeah. I think sometimes it's just the welcoming. You don't have to smile at everything, right? But I think because as women, we just are like getting ready for whatever, because we always get thrown some kind of random shit out in a networking event. But it's kind of like getting ready, and it just shows on your face.
Yes.
But I think it's great. Have a resting bitch face. You're amazing. Do what you want with it.
Yes.
So with the Female Gang, how much growth have you seen from when you launched Rock Glove to now? Like, because there was is there a big gap between both?
There is. Yeah, a lot. So I started the Rock Glove process like when I was 23 or 24.
Which is amazing.
I know. But so it started with me just cutting a hole in because I got engaged, was going to the gym, wanted to show off my ring, didn't want to take it off, or I'd forget to take it off. And then I was in the gym ruining it, didn't want to leave my car and have it get stolen, whatever. So I would cut a hole in my workout glove for the ring so I could still wear it. And then that's kind of what started that. But I had no idea what I was getting into when I was starting a patent. That took a strong 5 years for all of that. But I will say a lot of learning lessons. Now I'm all about hiring the experts. But when I first started, I wanted to do everything. So I actually did our first website with the coding and everything. Had no idea what I was doing. Tried to do that patent. Started doing lawyers, got kind of screwed over by a lot of lawyers, took a lot of money, told me I was doing the wrong patent here and this. So it was a lot of learning lessons. Yeah. But now I'm just all about hiring the experts. But that took about 5 years to get the patent. And in my mind, I didn't really want to push the Rock Glove until I had the patent. Now knowing, I would have still pushed it from the get-go, because it was in the process. But I really held myself back for the first 5 years until I had the official patent. And then, that was, I think 27 is when I got that. And then we started Female Gang, very first slow year. And then now it's just excelling.
But even growth for yourself, right? It just sucks, the learning experience of people kind of screwing you over, like lawyers and shit or whoever you had to use. But again, you learn so much. And from there to now, just all the shit is crazy.
Yes. And it's limiting, again, going back to the mind. I had these great ideas, but I didn't really think I would ever be, that person, or in insurance, the top producer, or Female Gang completely selling out. I had these great ideas, but I didn't really truly believe I would ever be that person. And now I do. And now I'm like, I'm going to be a millionaire in 2 years. Yeah. So just wait for it.
I love it.
Yes.
And then I'll keep replaying this and being like, look what she did. Yes. She said 2 years. She nailed it. Her mind got her there. Yep. So what's your next vision for the Female Gang?
So we are actually, there's a place called Lit Tampa, and we're actually going to partner with them. And we really want to do a fashion show in the fall, but not really about us. It's more so about, Female Gang isn't really, it is about us, but it's not. It's more so empowering everyone else's walk of life and truly changing the game of supporting. So, we do these launches, for us, but at the same time, pretty much our whole platform is for everyone else. So when our friends are starting businesses, it's all about shouting them out or, partnering up with different people. So we really want to do this fashion show of bringing in all of we're thinking about 5 top fashion artists, clothing designers, and doing a fashion show for them. So actually us not even being in it. And then also bring artists in, because we have a few, pretty well-known artist friends that they kind of have the same passion as us. So bringing, starting up artist artwork in there and then them sponsoring them. So that's kind of what we're wanting to do next, because the stronger together is really our mindset.
That's amazing. And where is Lit, and what is it, like a event place?
Yeah, it's a new, one of our good friends, KP, she actually just opened it. It's actually right, I don't know if you ever know where the Franklin Manor was, but it's in Tampa. So it's right next door. Okay. So she just opened that. Another female. So we love to partner with all the females, the strong females. But I will say, it's not even just about the females. We do a lot of unisex, because we have so many male friends, guys that love support as well. And so that's also what's, awesome, is just even seeing the support of the men with the females.
And it's not, you didn't create Female Gang to go attack men. Like, I hate when people say that. It's like, no, we're empowering. And right on, if all the men want, that's the point, is to get everybody involved. You're like, hi, I'm not a man hater. But I just think I'm just one to be around really strong women and people who empower each other and don't shame people and let people just kind of live happily.
And that's, I feel so, we've come a long way, but I still feel it's so, a lot of shame towards females. And even just like the post I recently did where I don't have a shirt on, with the flowers.
Oh, beautiful.
So many people,
Talk shit.
Yeah.
The
And
haters.
like, well, where's your clothes? I'm like, this is like a
First of all, this is my
powerful,
skin.
sexy. Yeah.
Yes,
like,
I'm supposed to be
there
super
is
comfortable in my
absolutely
skin.
nothing that's showing
Wear
that's
your
inappropriate.
clothes. My pants are on. You're welcome.
I know.
No, that was a beautiful picture.
Thank
And that's what I
you.
was saying. Like, you guys, the ladies there had to have felt so good around each other.
Yes.
Just really empowering you could just tell the shoot was fun.
Yes.
And that's what's important, to just feel good.
It is.
And I thought that was great. So shut those people up. Is it people you know sometimes too?
More
often
typically,
than-
yeah.
You're like,
typically
yeah.
it is. Yes. And I will say, I come from, a strong Christian background. But my family is the most accepting, but I will say I'm a little bit more of the wild child of the family that, kind of push a little bit more buttons. So they've even had to kind of grow with this experience through it. So at first it was like, thankfully this launch, typically we launch, we don't really talk about it too much. We launch and there it is. But this launch took a little bit longer than expected. And so pretty much the past 2 months we were talking about it and doing little snip, pieces. And there's the one, I don't know if you saw there's that TikTok challenge. I don't do TikTok, but there was one with like the female's body to the side with the red. Well, I try to do that. And my mom was like, what are you doing? Soft porn? And I'm like, no, you can't even see anything.
That's soft.
Yes. But she's already in the past 2 months. I'm like, Mom, it's a sexy piece. It doesn't have to be.
I feel empowered.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
But it's fun to open people's eyes up, right? Because they're just stuck in this little society norms. And it's like, no, if people are happy doing what, it's just supporting each other through what makes us happy. Your character is good. I always say, like, don't support the people who have shitty character, but your character is good. It's like, Mom, calm down.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you. We're going to make sure.
I know.
But you have 4 sisters too.
I do.
That's amazing. And you're oldest, middle, youngest?
I'm the, youngest of it. So I have 3 older sisters with my mom and my dad. And then, so I'm the youngest of that. And then I have a half sister with my dad and my stepmom. So, and just powerful woman. And I think that's really where it comes from. My mom and my dad separated, got divorced like a week after I was born. And my mom had, didn't go to school. My dad they were actually one of the first Remax franchise owners. And so my mom was always supporting him, didn't get a college degree, nothing like that. So he left her unexpectedly and she had 4 girls at home and just all of a sudden had to figure it out. So that's what I was saying is, life unfortunate situation. She started a cleaning business. So I think that instilled a grind in us. So all of my sisters are extremely successful, different walks. So, my oldest sister is huge in the corporate world. And then my second sister's, she was in the corporate world, but then now has 5 beautiful kids and is like a full-time mom. And I'm not a mom, but now that I look at her, I see the 24-hour, 7 days a week job that truly is. And so I know sometimes she struggles with, I don't feel like I have a purpose or this or that. I'm like, no, you do. Like, you have the most important job. And it's not like you're just a stay-at-home mom and you have like maybe, even though 1 is still hard for sure. But, she has 5 and 4 boys. So it's just, I'm like, you have literally the most important job. So everyone just has a different piece. And my little sister, she used to want to be the president of the United States. So it's like all 5 of us are these like very driven, completely different, but very driven in different walks of life.
And supportive.
Yes, yes. And I will say, so she was, my little sister, she was the campaign manager for the mayor in, I think it was Lakeland, I don't remember, but a different city. So I quit my job and that inspired her to quit hers. She's like, wait, no. Let me quit, but you stay.
No, you do what you're doing. Like,
exactly. Like, that's what you want to do. But she actually used it into basically kind of doing more political social media.
Cool.
So, that is really what,
I love that.
they're doing in the politics and whatnot. But I was just like, wait, no, I didn't. Don't quit.
I didn't mean for you to just like quit.
But she's
I love
killing
that,
it too. So,
yes. And I think it just shows your mom, like everything she did for you just shows through all of you. I mean, even though we make some choice decisions in college, but we're here, right?
Yes.
And I firmly agree with the support system that kind of levels you up. And that's a big thing too, us realizing we should be around and you should have your own.
And with that, I've lived in Vegas for the past a little over a year.
Oh, wow.
I just moved back. Speaking on support system.
Wow.
Another leap of faith. I actually was going out. I'd never been to Vegas, and in the health insurance industry, I wanted to have my own office. And there was a lot more opportunity out there. So March 16th last year, I packed one bag just to go visit. Like, hey, let me just kind of see. I've never even been there, never really left home. And so I went out there, and 2 days later, the original pandemic happened. And I have asthma, so that was back when we didn't really know what was happening.
Yeah.
So I kind of stayed for a little bit, and then it was like, okay, we're still in quarantine. I called my mom, like, do you just want to pack my car? I'm just going to move out here. She's like, you're what? I'm like,
wait, what?
I mean, I just feel like this is God's way of telling me.
I need to stay here. The pandemic just told me I need to stay here.
Yes. She's like, oh, again, supportive. She's like, okay, honey, whatever you want to do.
Packing your car up.
So she did. She packed my car up and shipped it out there. And I sat there for a year, and I will say, that's when I truly, truly grew as a person. It was probably the hardest year of my life. I loved it in the beginning. But when you actually realize I had my support system from afar, but not near me. I didn't know. I knew like one or two people, met some great people out there, but just different.
What a time to have realizations like that, though. Wow.
Oh my gosh. And, Vegas was pretty much shut down the entire time.
Yeah.
So
you couldn't hide all of the realizations with going out every
No,
night.
I couldn't. Literally. Yeah. They were shut down. I mean, they just opened July or June 1st, like fully. And I mean, I will say that's when I really realized how true mental health was. I went into pretty much a pretty deep depression. Everyone always thought I was the happiest person. I mean, I've been through hell and back.
But that depression doesn't have like a fate. Like you don't like it just, you're like, okay, thank you. But you don't like, there's no definition of this.
No. And I will always say, I always wondered why I'm like, life, you guys it's your mindset. Like, just get over it. Always. That's how I always was. I would go through hell, and I would go back home. My mom would, my stepdad would rub my feet. My mom would give me a hug, and I had amazing friends. I was back at the next day. But this was the first time that, I would get off work around 9 there, which is like midnight here. So I couldn't call anyone. So it was pretty much a year and I went through some pretty rough things out there. And that's when I realized how important who you surround yourself really is. Because I will say, even myself, like, I became a little bit crazy,
Yeah. Just our thoughts can just take over.
Yes.
And I think this makes this launch so much more important too.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And so I literally, that was end of February. We had our Women's Empowerment Day, National Women's Day. We were going to do our first little brunch. So I was coming in town for that. And that was on a Saturday. The Tuesday, I called my mom. I'm like, Mom, I'm just going to move home. And she's like, okay. What? She's like, okay.
Are you shipping your car?
I'm like, I just can't, Mom. I just can't do it. I need to go home. I'm 30 years old and I miss my mom.
Can I go home now?
Yes. But again, it's the people you're surrounded with. So I did. And actually, I still have my apartment out there. I haven't quite finished everything out there. But I got my car, packed everything I could, shipped it out. And that day, that brunch was literally, I knew I needed to be home. It was our, coming back for that day, for that brunch. And again, these people that were coming and supporting when I had been for the past year with people that were just like haters, Yeah. And I thought I could keep doing it, but it was just like, I could only get knocked down so many times. And I was just, I couldn't do it anymore. So that one day, it was like it was our first brunch we ever did. We were expecting maybe, 10 people if we were lucky. We ended up selling out. I mean, it was only like 25 people, but we ended up selling out because the place we were in, they could only hold 25. And it was just, and I didn't really know half of them, but it was just back being in an environment that was just so energetic and positive. And I was like, this is where I need to be. So I never went back and got my stuff. So
you're just like, I'm going to leave that shit there.
Literally.
I love how we got into that because I think that's so important. I mean, shit, you moved at like a hard time. Like the world was just shut down.
Yeah.
But you made it, and now everything else is just so much more bittersweet. And I think people forget to realize, family, friends, whoever it is, like if you don't feel good or in that, like get out.
Yeah.
But we learn that, I think, with age. Not like we're old, but I'm older than you though. But I think we just all, thank you so much. I think we just realize that later on. And I love that you talk about your mom, because every time I like leave the house to do something or I have an event or the kids are like, don't leave. Can we go to this one? And I'm like, no, but they go to a lot of things with me. But I'm always like, no, they get to see.
Yes.
And when you just bring up your mom so much, it makes me like, I'm like, okay, I'm doing because you feel bad. You have that mom guilt when you leave. You're like, I'm sorry, I have to go.
And that's what Lou, I wish Lou was here right now because that's what she has 2 kids. And she's always like, how do I get over the mom guilt? I'm like, I don't know, get it over it.
You don't. It's there. I just put it in the back seat. I'm like, fuck it. But you're like, just get over it. Yeah. We have an event.
I'm like, let's go.
We have a photo show. We need to go.
Even like today. And she's like, Haylee, like, I haven't finished packing. I'm like, oh my God,
get over it.
Literally.
Just get over it.
Leave them. They have a dad.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yes.
But yeah, that's how I feel. But I love hearing you talk about your mom.
Yes.
And just that at any stage in life, like going back home is not, I hate when people are like, oh, I moved back home. I'm like, you had to get there to go to the next part of your, like, it's not a bad thing. I hope my kids know they can come back home. Like, please.
Yeah. And I am back home right now.
I love it. That's what I'm saying. Like, do it. Do whatever you have to do. And I see a Vegas trip in our future as your apartment. But I also think you are so confident that you're like, yeah, I'm fucking back home. Yeah, like that's just part of my journey.
My mom makes my lunch every day. She does my laundry.
We are meal preppers.
Why would I leave? No, but I will say, I am trying to vibe with the market right now. It's like I find one place and the next day it's gone. So
you don't have to talk about that shit.
Yes.
So many of my friends that are realtors, I like just watch them. They're like, this is the worst.
Yes.
I mean, it's great in one sense and then not for them. But no, I feel that. But you're at a good place and you know where your support system is. And that's really important. And I always feel for people who just don't have that support, but it's like, you got to find it.
You got to find it.
Because you can't keep hanging out with the people that just ask you where your clothes are.
Yeah. And that's literally exactly like, where's your shirt? I don't know.
I look fucking great in this picture, first of all.
I'm going to wear a shirt again.
Like,
I'm under the nudist colony.
It's what you walk into in my house now. Thank you. Exactly. So where can we find you?
Yeah. So
not TikTok.
No, not TikTok. I try. I can't do TikTok. I tried to do a dance one time and my old school dances, I don't even remember what we used to do, but not what they do on TikTok.
No, it is not what we do.
But so our Instagram is female.gang. My personal is just Haylee.Hehl. And then our website is actually FemaleGangCo.com. So we all are online, but we're actually, in the next year, we hope to open a little studio / like a mimosa kind of tea coffee bar / studio. So it's just kind of finding the spot and breaking it all down. But that's the goal in the next year to officially be into
that's so cool
hard spot. And again, just more of a community piece. Not really, we sell stuff obviously, but a place for people to come together and grow and
that's
support.
why you'll have different things to have and stuff there. Yeah, exactly. You just want to feel a good place. I love that.
Yes.
Congrats on that.
Thank you.
Can you leave with our listeners kind of what got you through to like the hard days? Like what gets you through?
A few different things. I mean, like I said, to me, God, powerful. I mean, prayer is powerful for me. And then other than the support system, my family and friends, it's just your mind. Your mind, you have to strengthen it. And when you have those sad days, you have to make it a routine to grow it. So even if you don't want to get up and listen to that motivational podcast or, whatever you're going through, if you're not working that particular brain piece that you need to improve on, you're not going to get over it. So just really making, I always say, like my game plan. So whatever I'm struggling with in those hard days, making a very specific game plan of strengthening that piece until it's second nature. And the next thing you know it, you're not crying 5 times a day, every single day.
I feel that. Haylee Hehl, thank you for joining today. You can find Haylee at Not a Great Whisper podcast page, katyray.com, at The Real K Ray. You are amazing. I can't wait to have another episode. I can't wait to your next moves with FemaleGang. You have a supporter in me. Yay. And I hope all the listeners, those billion listeners, we appreciate you. And thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.